Hello to all you yids out there. This is the Heart Now Here Spurs Fans Podcast, a podcast from a bunch of yids to all you yids around the world. And it's Easter time. It's an Easter break for a few. We've got Matty out in Yarmouth after he's been winning the league with Enfield Town on bloody TikTok. He's doing well on that, Kev. I don't know if you've seen him on that. Jesus Christ, he gets some numbers.
He's found a few starlets in that squad, hasn't he?
At one point, I thought he was going to be our new manager, but look, it's myself, Lee Tarrier, Kevin Dennis. We thought we'd do a pod. It's been so long years since that dreadful time against Nottingham Forest, and in that time, as we expected, Igor Tudor's gone, and what we didn't really expect was Roberto Zerbi to come in on a 5-year deal, a big deal, with no, as far as we know, relegation escape clause. But he's in, and so we thought we'd do a pod before the Sunderland game because it was already a massive game. But now, I mean, with a new manager, he's had by that time, he probably had about 10 days, 11 days with him. It's huge, and it's going to show a big indication on what we can expect for the rest of the season, which is so crucial. Me and Kev were just talking off air about when the season ends. It ends on a bank holiday weekend at home to Everton. We're trying to find out if we'll be able to go for a drink or not, whether we stay up. But Kev, it's been we left it a little bit. We put some posts up. You put a great post up. I put a video post up about it. Now about a week removed from the appointment, what's your feeling? What you've seen? His training stuff on socials and that. What have you seen? What do you think?
Yeah, first of all, it's been a great couple of weeks to not have any Spurs stress. I mean, we've been put through the ringer so much this year, and probably haven't had a bit of a break like it. So it's been nice to recharge in terms of maybe watching other football. I think leaning on Arsenal's woes this last weekend has been. Our last couple of games has been great to watch. Probably one blessing after the Forest game was watching them losing that cup final, and obviously what happened against Southampton, which was great. So, kind of had a little buzz about that, and obviously it's back to normal this weekend against Sunderland. But yeah, first of all, enjoyed no Spurs stress, and I mean I probably speak for every Spurs fan out there that probably enjoyed the break away from Spurs for the last couple of weeks, which is great. Have missed it in a weird way, but haven't been stressing too much about it, which is good, and more looking forward to this game. And like you said, Lee, having a new manager in charge of this game, for me it was massive. I think we knew Tudor's time was up after Forest. I spoke to a guy on the Instagram, a guy called Mickey Stew, who listens to us and has had the pleasure of seeing me at away games. And weirdly enough, he met Gus Poyet on High Street in London. Just before the Zerbi appointment. I think it might be the day before. And Poyet was saying that he's in a group chat with him, Teddy Sheringham, Glenn Hoddle, all sort of old boys, and Robbie Keane, and none of them ever got asked about rejoining the club in terms of an interim basis, where we probably all thought that's where we was going to go with it. We was going to go and get I mean, the day before the Zerbi, I'd done a video saying that, if we can go down that route, Glenn Hoddle would have been my choice. So I think we was all thinking that because of, the interim with Tudor. I think that we thought they was keeping the seat warm for Pochettino, and that's probably the way they did want to do it. However, it hasn't worked out that way. So they was never going to go down the old school route because of the shit we're in. So they had to go out and get the best manager that they could. And I believe, my opinion, they've probably got the best manager they can go and get right now in terms of availability. In terms of him as a coach, I mean, I thrive. I mean, I'm a coach for an under-15 side, and I watch a lot of stuff and learn off a lot of videos, and especially these professional managers. And the Zerbi, my preference of the way I coach kids, he is exactly what I am. When you watch his training videos, he loves to get on the pitch, loves to be a part of it. I mean, I think you've seen the snippets from the club of the training videos of him on the pitch in day one, telling people how to use their body, move. He's very, trains at high intensity. And it's probably what these players need right now. They, a lot of them have just been having a fucking stroll up. in terms of the way they've played in games, whether that's training or not. I always believe that you play how you train. So it's nice to see that about him. It's a manager that Spurs have wanted for a long time as well. They was after him at Brighton. So they've gone and got the man they want. They've given him a 5-year contract. So I think the Pochettino whispers now are now put to bed. I think in De Zerbi's interview, he said he's, regardless of what happens, he's staying. He's got a 5-year contract. So they've managed to nail him down with that. How much money they're giving him for that, I don't know. How much of a bonus they're giving him for keeping us up, if he does, I don't know. But I'm very, very happy with the appointment, just in terms of the way he coaches and what I think my players or my club at Spurs need. They need a manager who's high intensity, who's very passionate. I want a guy who's going to be running that up and down the line. I want a guy, a bit like when De Zerbi played against us with Brighton, kicking off on the sidelines and having punch-ups. I mean, that's a passionate manager, and that's what we want, I think. We've probably had managers more recently like Ange, Tudor, who'd like to stand and watch training. This guy likes to get physically involved in it. He can't help himself. So I'm in a positive frame of mind about going forward for the next 7 games. We had to replace the manager, and the way this guy goes, I mean, whether he's going to be able to function and play the way he wants to play with these crop of players that he's got in 7 games, I don't know. He might have to find a bit of in between of going from a long ball manager to a guy who likes to play on the deck, likes to invite pressure, likes to play through the lines. I don't know how much he's going to be able to influence that in 7 games, but I know for a fact he ain't going to want to play long ball. So it's a huge job for him. But in terms of going forward, I think it's the best man we can get right now. And whether we stay up or we don't, I think we're in great hands for next season regardless. Whether we've got to climb back up to the Prem or we've got to go from where we are to the next stage of in the Premier League, whether that's a mid-table side or a top 10 side or a top 8 side. So yeah, I was done with Tudor after Forest. Sorry, that was one thing that Poyet said to my mate. He said that Tudor knew he was going before the Forest game, apparently. And somehow Poyet knew that. So the decision was already made that they were going for the change. So losing 3-0 and his dad passing away was just another thing that was happening at the time. They was always going to get rid of him, apparently. That's coming from Gus Poyet. So, however, how you want to take that, I don't know. So the club had their mind made up. Knew that we were in the shit and we had to act quick. So, yeah, I mean, they've probably gone against everything they wanted to do in terms of direction, wanting to do after Frank. But they put themselves in this shit situation and they've had to go out and get the best they can get and pay the money to get him in. So he's got a job to do. And, yeah, let's hope he hits the ground running.
Well, that's it. We're hoping that. What we see is from his other clubs, I'm looking at his first 5 games, Brighton, there was no wins, 2 draws, 3 losses. But outside of that, Sassuolo in Italy, 3 wins, 1 draw, 1 loss. Shakhtar, 4 wins, 1 loss. Marseille, 4 wins, 1 draw, no losses. Positive. It's going to be quite different to come here. But as a style of football, TJ, I mean, there are similarities between what Ange did and what he did. I'm not saying it's Ange ball, but there is a real sense of the Cavalier. I've been looking at some of the Opta stuff on that, and some of it shows that he's brilliant at pressing, he's brilliant at getting forward, getting the ball, playing from the back, which is kind of crazy. But at the same time, as much as they scoring a series of consecutive games, I think there was a 32 consecutive game scoring run. They do his teams leave themselves open a bit too often. They conceded more goals, his Brighton team, from opposition counterattacks than any other side. With all that in mind, and with what we've got left to play this season, what's your take on it? What do you expect to see? Do you expect to see De Zerbi ball from the get-go?
No, so obviously De Zerbi comes from that Guardiola school of thought, right? Like he's like, we want possession. So he's a possession-based manager. He believes that we should have the ball at all points in the game. He likes to build up play from the back, like you say, to open teams up, break the lines, and he's attacking-minded. So these are all things that we like to see as a well, apart from playing out from the back, because we don't really have the personnel to do it. But these are all things we want to see at Spurs, right? Like we want to see attacking football, free-flowing, possession football, not this counter-attacking stuff that we've seen for the past 12 months, basically. When your question is, what do I think is going to happen in the next few games? This, I think, is a tough one because I think in order to have, and we've seen this with the Tudor stuff, right? Who, by the way, I'm sorry, like I know personal stuff aside, I know he had a lot of grievances with his father passing away and all that, but he was never the right man for the job. Like no one knew who he was. Like he's come in, and I don't want to kick him now. He's gone, but you know that was such a bad appointment from the board. Whereas this one, the guy's got Premier League experience and done pretty well in the Premier League with Brighton as well. You know, got them up the table quite high. I think in the long term he will be a good manager. Whether there is a long term is another thing because this guy don't stay at places very long if he don't get his own way. But in the short term, I think this is just about a man coming in, putting a bit of fucking fear in the boys, like of like, you know, this is where we are, this is what I expect. Get out there and fucking do it, and just let them know they're fucking good enough to do it. The same thing that Tudor should have done that didn't do is that you need to come in there and let them know. I don't think we're going to see too much. Like we're going to see a bit, obviously, because he's coming. He's going to try and imprint himself straight away. But I think at this stage it's about winning games, just getting points on the board, and I think he's aware of that. He that's why he wasn't. I think that's why there was this pessimism about him coming in before the end of the season, because how quickly can you change something round? We've got 7 games to go. I still believe we need 3 wins, but we've needed 3 wins from 12 games to go.
Yeah.
So yeah, like Sunderland is a big game. It's one that I kind of, if Tudor was there, I wouldn't expect us to win it. But with the Zerbi there, I think the new manager bounce, could have an impact. But I don't want people to get too on it with like the way we're playing in the next 7 games. He just needs to come in, breathe some confidence into them players, because we do have a good set of players when they're all firing. And just make sure they're all singing from the same hymn sheet. That's the main thing. Just get them all playing in their right positions. Breathe the confidence into them and just get them playing fucking football again. Because at the moment, it's just like, as we saw, look, the Forest game, we didn't actually play that bad in the first half. I don't think we played that bad in the first half. And then we come out and absolutely capitulated. And that's what we need to get away from. We just need that. If we go behind, it's not over that mentality again. We need to get that back. And listen, it's going to be a fight. We've got 7 huge games, but 7 games where points are attainable as well. Sunderland, Wolves, Brighton, Leeds. These are all games where we can get something from it. And like I said, if we get 3 wins from the next 7, then De Zerbi goes into next season a Premier League manager. Tottenham retain their status, and we can have a fucking moan up in the summer. But we just need to get behind him for now. Like I'm like Kev. I'm optimistic about the appointment. I think long term, I don't know, if I'm being totally honest with you, because he does give me that kind of Conte-esque, like if he doesn't get his own way, he might be off. But then I kind of back that, if I'm being honest. Like I think given the board and what they've done so far with this club, I think any manager coming in is well within their rights to demand what they want. And you know, there's talk of him having a £1 million or a 7-figure, they said, so it could be more bonus if he keeps Spurs in the Premier League. Which, given the financial problems we'd be in if we went down, is a small price to pay. So listen, there's a lot of work to do. Like we're under no illusion that, you know, we've had this, like Kev said, we've had this 3-week break, which has been a bit of a blessing, because none of us have been stressed out, and we've all had like a nice time for the past 3 weeks off football. But now this Sunday it's business, and if there's one man who's gonna bring you business, it's De Zerbi. He won't tolerate any bollocks. So he will get them in line. And that, I think, is something that is needed at this stage of the season.
Yeah, it's what we really hope for. I think it's what we need. I think his style, I mean, we always know what he did with Brighton. I didn't see as much with Marseille. I didn't watch the French league, but he'd always have the 2 defenders basically on the same line as the goalkeeper and play either side of them. Kev, do you see that happening from the off with Tottenham? Can we afford to have that from the off? Away at Sunderland, hostile ground, lively crowd that are, you know, they've got a outside chance of making Europe. Has he got to play a little bit more tenacious before the real style kicks in next season?
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I don't expect. I mean, it takes a long time to get the style you want in terms of. I mean, wherever I think these current players can do it, is another thing. I think he'll probably assess what he's got. I mean, like I said, your long ball will be out the fucking window. I know that. But playing the way he wants to play, we definitely don't have the goalkeeper to do it in Vicario. So I'm hoping the old Italian connection there doesn't do him any favors to get him in, because, the goalkeepers he had at Brighton in Steele and Van der Bruggen are comfortable with their feet. It'd be nice to see Kinski back in there. I'm sure Vicario might be out for a couple of games with the hernia thing. So Kinski will get a chance in there. And if he does well, then I don't think there's a reason why he should come out. I think Kinski is the perfect goalkeeper for him if he wants to play that way. Whether or not he will go full gung-ho in terms of his style, I think there are certain foundations I think he'll want to imprint straight away. Whether he can get everything out of them that he wants in the long term in a week or two will remain to be seen. They'd have to be pretty good at what they do to completely transform and be comfortable in a completely different style that they're not used to, especially for the last year or so, especially for players that have only played under Frank at Spurs. So it's kind of like there's a guy, Eddie Lynch, who's a guy who commented on Instagram. He's a coach at Arsenal, and he sort of said, I think what he'll have to do is he'll have to try and find an in-between. To go out and completely change your style in that short amount of time is pretty difficult to put your blueprint on a side. So it's going to have to be somewhere in the middle of it. Yes, he may want to play out from the back, but can he be too cautious with drawing players on to the defenders then to play through? I don't know. It's really, really intriguing to see. He definitely plays the right way. Yeah, go on,
Kev, not to interject, but these are the same players mostly that played under Ange, which play a similar attacking system, right? So they should be able to transition back to that pretty easily, I think.
Yeah, I think the thing he's got to do, which Ange didn't do, is play cautious, invite pressure, but also, not be too full on in terms of going out and attacking. Yes, the Zerbi likes to play through, but if you haven't got the right players to, if it transitions back to the other end, if you haven't got the right players to do that, then it may be a struggle. He'll have to assess what he's got. I mean, our strongest team that we can put out, I would expect to be able to deal with that. So he's going to have to make that decision. I think it's more like T. said, it's more going into next season and seeing what we've got when he has a summer of collecting the players he wants, finding the goalkeeper that he wants to have, finding the defenders, finding that midfield workhorse who's going to jump on the ball all the time. They're getting them wide players out, like a Matoma who's going to get onto players. I mean, Kuda's coming back would be massive for him in that sense of driving forward once the ball crosses the halfway line and we've got a player on it to drive at the opposition. So it's really intriguing to see how much he can get out of the current players. I mean, like T said, the current squad is good enough to do it. It's just, I just think if you're on this amount of money and you're in the job you've got and you're professional, within a couple of weeks, you should, if you have enough time on the training ground, they should be able just to do it. Especially like T said, if they played under managers before who's played that kind of way, I don't see how much you can forget in 1 year. So I'm really intrigued. He's definitely a manager. The style I've been infatuated with his training videos with Spurs at the moment. Just to watch a guy with a whistle in his hand on the pitch, getting the boots on, fucking moving around, stopping it every 10 seconds, telling players, I need you to do this, I need you to do that. He's just very intimate in terms of getting in people's ears and having that obsession. I think it's an Italian thing as well. I mean, I'm sure Conte was like that. I mean, Conte was a mad cunt on the sidelines. But this guy he's a training pitch manager. He's got the boots on. He does that thing the right way. And I think the way we played this year, and maybe the egos we have at the moment, probably need a manager like this, especially for these last 7 games, to fire you up, to have a pop at you when you ain't doing great, telling you you're better than what you are, that sort of style. So really, really intrigued. And like I said, I'm in a better place going into Sunderland than I was if Tudor was in charge, or if we had a fucking Tim Sherwood or something like that in charge. I think we've got the best we can have in terms of the kind of right manager to maybe get us them 3 wins TJ's talking about. And we're getting players back as well. I mean, the bench at Forest was great. It's a shame it capitulated in the second half because we had a decent bench, which we would have thought it would have gone the opposite way. So having Kudus back's massive. But just having that belief. I think there's certain players he might rub up the wrong way, but listen, you're in a fucking job. If the manager's barking at you to do shit, then you just fucking do it. So if them players don't want to do it, they're the players you want to get out the door, especially if you've got a 5-year contract as a manager. So I can't wait for something. I'm gutted that I've sold my tickets. I'm gutted I ain't going because I wish I could be there. It's a game. It's a massive game. And yeah, I'm really excited about it. Weirdly enough, really excited.
Well, that's a good thing. And I mean, you know, at the end of the day, this team knew how to play football. It's not that long ago. I know there's some players that aren't there now, but that goal that we scored at Palace, Son scored, was beautiful. It went from the back to the front, and a lot of those players are there. I mean, if you look at Zerbi again, look at these Opta stats. Over his 2 Premier League seasons at Brighton, only City strung together more sequences or of 10 plus passes more than his Brighton side. He knows how to get it. Sometimes it can be said, is it overplaying? But at the end of the day, I think we need that belief back in it because TJ, this team, these players can pass the ball. We have seen enough of them do that. You know, Andrew's reign wasn't that long ago, 2-3 years, and a lot of that squad still remains. So we know that we can do that. We know that we can bring that in. So there is that chance that early on, like you were saying, these played under Ange, we can play a bit more of an expressive passing game before we get to the end of the season that can allow us to be on the front foot in games where before we were playing slower, longer, hoping for the best without any real idea, both under Frank and Tudor.
Yeah, don't underestimate the impact of possession football as well, like on the mentality. Like if you're a team that, you know, doesn't work in possession and you're sitting back all the time, you're under constant pressure at the back and you're literally fighting for that line the whole time. That has a psychological impact, you know, like when you're constantly trying to defend your own goal for most of the game and act on the counter. You know, that's why teams tend to play like that when they go away to big grounds or teams that are going to come at them, because that's what they try and do. They try and just win on the counter. But soaking up that pressure consistently for weeks on out and playing that way where, you know, you just want to be solid at the back and not really look to attack or have possession of football. Psychologically, that is a mental block. If you have possession football and, you know, you've got free-flowing passing, that itself breeds confidence into players. If you're knocking the ball round players and you own it and you're working your triangles, you know, you're playing through balls, you're getting up the lines, this is all stuff that works in attacking football. You can tell that the way I'm talking, I'm someone that prefers that anyway. Like whenever I've coached, I've always coached to be more attacking minded and like as opposed to, you know, let's hold back and just try and pass along the back. It's never been my thing when I've coached. But so it suits. I think it suits like what you need at a club, which I'm going to say is confidence. The biggest thing right now in them players is to know that they are good enough to get out of this, because they are. But they need to believe it, because at the moment,
yeah,
I mean, 1-0 down.
I mean, I was just going to say, I mean, what we've seen over the last few months are players that have lacked confidence, have no sense of positioning, can't pass a ball. I mean, you don't turn shit overnight, because it wasn't like that under Ange, and weren't so much like that under Frank. And this towards the end, it got quite bad. But like these players are good enough to do it. And like you said, confidence is massive. But, you know, having a manager in there now who's not going to play players out of position. Like Tej said, you bop the ball 10, 15 times around the box. Some smart teams will sit there and let you have it. Some teams won't. Some teams will drive, like especially play for away from home. Like this game, especially, is a game that you can hold on to the ball, draw the opposition on, play through the lines, because they're at home and they're gonna go for that. So having that in terms of that and having confidence of getting onto the football, like T said, you have 10, 20 passes, and if you have that in the midfield and you take it back to the defenders, have another 15 passes round the back, if you score a goal after 30, 40 passes of going backwards and being patient on the football, like T is saying, that is going to breed confidence massively. But what we've had recently is a team that someone will get the ball, no one shows, ends up going long, or someone will get it under pressure, turn, in stupid position, lose the ball. It just turned really schoolboy under Tudor and Frank towards the end. And I don't think this manager will stand for that. I think he will tell people to be brave on the ball. And if you don't want to be brave on the football, you don't play for me. It's as simple as that. And these players like Bergval, like Palhinha, these sort of players can do that on the ball. But if there ain't options to pass the ball and move around, then it ain't going to work. This guy won't stand for that. He's a possession-based manager. He will have you taking that ball back to that goalkeeper 100 times if it means someone's going to jump and you're going to play through an attack. Patience is everything. I mean, I'm really biased with it, because it's the way I've taught my boys from under 10 and 11. Keep the ball. If it has to go back, it has to go. You know, watch Barcelona of old. I mean, I'm watching Real Madrid and Bayern Munich tonight. They're doing it. You just take the ball back. Just keep it. Yeah. Someone will sort of squeeze on, and you just play through. It's football at the moment in modern day is just like a game of chess. It really is, and it's so detailed in terms of that. And I think this guy is at the age, and he's come from, like Tej said, that school of managers where it's now the modern day thing to keep the ball, to use the goalkeeper as much as you can, play out to your wingers, go back to your fullbacks, go into midfield, come back out to your fullback, go down the line, go to centre midfield, goes back to your centre half. I'll take that all day long if it gets me goals. I don't care how boring people think it is. It's the modern day of way I'm playing football. And for the shit we've just endured of watching our goalkeeper hit it up to forwards who can't win a header, or our goalkeeper spraying balls going out for throws, I think this will be a breath of fresh air. Either if he gets a bit going this year or even next year. It's, for me, I'm really biased about it. For me, it's the way you play football nowadays. And, you know, it would never have worked in the 90s and early 2000s, but it's definitely the last sort of five to 10 years. It's been slowly creeping in, and now it is today's football. And we've got a manager who's at the heartbeat of that side of it. So I can't wait.
Yeah, I mean, I was looking on a Twitter profile at Keep It On The Deck, and I'm sure loads of people have seen it. They've basically taken some of the Zerbi training footage from the official club's platforms, and they've put a sort of diagram across it where he does that 4v2 +1 positional setup, and it's basically challenges decision making and awareness in relation to like real pressing intensity. So what he does, he gets 4 players set up around the outside, 2 on the end lines and 2 working the flanks, and there's this 1 central link player, and it's all about them keeping the ball, completing a set number of passes to score. Out of possession, it's about pressing with intensity, looking to win it back, but it's all about keeping that ball. And like you say, whether that's 10, 20, 30 passes up and down, they want to keep that. And I think that's something that we're going to see with the Zerbi, which is great. And whether that, you know, if he's putting that into action now with the training, that's brilliant, because I'd like to think by the end of the season, by the Everton game when we're safe, he's already started to have that little bit of time with them to make it work as effective from the get-go going into August, when we want to really push on and do something with a new season. But I guess
he's a proper technical manager, Lee. That's one thing I will say. Yeah. Like he's focusing on the technicals, and we will get that in the summer. Like, but for this period, we just need that win at all costs mentality. Let's get back to playing possession football. Let's get back to fucking winning the ball high up the pitch, and let's get back to fucking scoring goals and just getting the points over the line. That's the main 100%. Thing.
So then I guess what I'll ask you both, I'll start with you, TJ, is what do you reckon the score is going to be on Sunday?
I ain't got a clue, man. I'm so scared to say anything with Tottenham now. Honestly, everything I fucking say is wrong these days. I've never been proven wrong so many more times in a season than this one. But I do think we'll get a result. I think we'll get a draw. I do. I think I'd love to go up there and blow them away, like 3-0. I'd love that. But considering how good they've been at home, I know they've dropped off form of late. And, you know, I know you say they've got an outside chance of Europe, but realistically, they've achieved their goal this season of getting another year in the Prem. So I think we will get a score draw, maybe 2-2. I think.
Interesting. Kev, what are you thinking?
I don't know. I mean, I don't know if it's because I've had Spurs busy for a couple of weeks, but I'm going into this really optimistic. I mean, like I said, I'm into the new manager bounce. I mean, I've got it wrong with Tudor for the Arsenal game, but it's like you're saying, these are fixtures coming up that I expect us to take points in. With this new manager and players coming back, I expect us to grab some points out of it. But yeah, it would surprise me if we go up there and win. It really wouldn't. If you get Kudus back, it's massive. I like to see Kinski in there playing with his feet. I mean, having Van den Ven and Romero back together, Spence and Udogie. I mean, that back 4 or back 5 is probably the best we can put out there in terms of the way this manager wants to play. So Bergvall obviously coming back in as well, fully fit now. So yeah, I mean, yeah, I think it's because it's been such a while since Spurs play. I think I'm just itching for a Spurs game now. But yeah, with the new manager bounce, I'm really excited about it. So I'm going to go all out. and say I'm going for a Spurs 2-1 win.
That's what we want. That's what we... I mean, because it's scary, right? Because we could be in the bottom three before we kick a ball. We kick off at 2 on and
West Ham at home to Wolves on Friday.
See, the thing is,
West Ham are at home to Wolves on Friday.
If we are in that bottom three, I'm using that as a fucking weapon in that change room. I'm like, I'm getting that league table up on that fucking screen, that change room, going, fucking look where we are. This club shouldn't be here. Okay, this is where we need to be out of this. We need to be fucking da-da-da. And I'd use that as such a spur of motivation with them. And I do think the Italian thing about him is he's going to be eccentric. He is going to be loud in there. I mean, I watched a video the other day that Cody showed me, and he's fucking offering out one of his players on the training ground, sent to fuck off and have a shower. I love all that. I mean, there's probably a couple of players in our squad that it'd probably end up doing that too if they carry on with the way they're doing. But yeah, he's just all out winning, and he's got a reputation. He's come in. He's fell on a gold mine with Spurs in terms of the contract. He's going to be there next year. Does he want to be a manager in the Championship? Definitely not. So, I mean, my only worry is, knocking on the door like Conte. I mean, I watched that Conte rant the other day after the Southampton game, and the guy was crying out for fucking better players in the squad. If they want to be something, they want to be them. So, if this board can match this manager's ambition after the fuck ups they've done this year, and what they owe us, then I expect if they do get safe, then next year we really have to propel ourselves and go one more in terms of getting back into Europe and giving this guy the players to work his style and who knows next year and new players and Deadwood out. So yeah, really excited.
I mean, and then looking at it, although we may be in the bottom three because of West Ham, who do you lot think is our main rival to go down? Because I look at Forest, they've got Porto on Thursday, which may sound lucrative and glorious because it's a quarterfinal European Cup. But when you're in the mire they're in, they've got Villa then at home on Sunday. They've got Burnley, which should be a win, but then Sunderland away, Chelsea away, Man United away, Newcastle at home. Is it more Forest than West Ham, TJ, that we recommend?
I think there's 4 into 1 still. I really do. I think Leeds are in that mix as well. I know they got a result recently, but I really do. I think West Ham, Spurs, Forest, and Leeds. One of them 4 are going. It really is that. I actually agree with you. I think Forest is probably the more likely team that we could leapfrog. I think West Ham's fixtures are quite favourable. Like I say, they've got Wolves at home. Again, Wolves are a free hit now. They've got off that monkey on the shoulder about going down with the lowest points ever. So they're just like whatever now. They're going down. They're playing well. I mean, it's not close, right? I mean, we fucking got them away in a few weeks, so who knows? But listen, I think it's one of those 4. Everyone else above is safe. Burnley and Wolves are gone, so there's one more place to fill, and it's one of those 4 teams that's going to be. Yeah,
lads. I mean, where are you going to be watching the game then? At home, both of you? Kev, I know you said you sold the ticket. You're going to be watching at home?
Yeah, the reason I ain't going is I've got a game on that Sunday morning, and weirdly enough, the next 2 weeks after that, I had 3 weekends, so it's a bit of a shame that Sunderland landed on that one because I'd love to have been there.
Bloody hell.
It's a ground I've been to for a long time, so it'd been nice. I mean, they're going to be here next year, so I'm not too gutted about it to go up there and have a naughty weekend in Newcastle. So, yeah, unfortunately, I'm not going. I'm going to be watching it indoors and hoping for the best and having that first weekend back with Spurs a positive one. So, yeah, looking forward to the game. Really am.
Yeah, TJ, you going to be watching at home?
Yeah, same. We're doing a bit of work in the garden over the next few days. So I think me and my dad are going to try and wrap most of it up on Sunday. So hopefully just before Spurs kick off, we'll be done in the garden and we crack a few beers open and watch Spurs get a smashing win up on Wearside.
Well, let's hope so. Lads. I mean, we'll be back after that game. It's going to be a good insight into what we can expect for the rest of the season. The Brighton game is the Saturday after at 5:30. His first home game is against his old team. That's going to be very interesting, but it's baby steps. We've got to take it one step at a time. It's all about Sunderland. We're optimistic. New manager, new optimism as we put the title of our episode. And roll on Sunday. That's all I can say, lads. And hopefully, me and Kev were saying at the start of the show and just off the air, come the bank holiday win over Everton, we've stayed up. We can all go out on the piss till silly o'clock because it's bank holiday Monday the next day. We'll end up in the White Horse again, TJ.
That should be compulsory every season, by the way.
Yeah.
That the final game of the season is the Sunday of the bank holiday. Why does that not happen every year?
So
that
true.
Should be compulsory.
I said to Lee, when we were talking about off air, I was like, I don't really like sometimes last game of the season. It's nice to see the boys, but if we went down, I probably won't bother. And he went, well, it's a bank holiday weekend. And I went, yeah, all right, then maybe I'll stay out. It makes such a difference, the Sunday game. When you ain't got to get up on the Monday, I mean, we fucking do it.
It was like that last year as well, wasn't it? The Brighton game, we lost 4-1, but we'd won the cup a couple of days before. It was a bank holiday as well last year.
Who give a fuck about the last game last season? The last game was in Bilbao. It was done.
No. Right. So this one we've got to celebrate. But lads, thanks, all the best. I mean, we didn't know we was going to do a pod, but it seemed right to do it. We'll be back after the Sunderland game. Let us know what you think. Again, please let everybody know about the Heart and I Hear Spurs Fans podcast. Give your reviews into the podcast through Apple, through Spotify. Every review you give people, it means a lot to us. It gets the word out there. And again, we love more and more fans coming to listen and watch what we're doing. We're growing all the time, and it means a lot. So, yeah.
Sorry, Lee. Can I just quickly cut in? I mean, I didn't speak to you about it before. I just want to give a shout out quickly before you go off to Jamie Bradley, who's signed with Warren Management for his boxing.
Oh, brilliant!
So we know he's a professional boxer. We know he's undefeated at the moment. So he's just signed with Warren Management. So I spoke to him the other day, and there'd been an announcement, I think, for his next fight within a couple of weeks. So I spoke to him after the Forest game. I spoke to him. I met his brother Tommy, who a lot of people know, who's on Towie. Not Towie, sorry, Love Island. My missus watched so many of these fucking programs. I can't remember which one's which.
I watched them. It was good.
He keeps saying his missus, but it's him. He's sitting there watching it the whole time. Shell don't even like him. It's all him.
So I spoke to him, and Tommy and Jamie are very keen to come on together in the next couple of weeks. So
great.
Yeah, so that'd be really interesting for the ids that do like their Love Island and stuff. To be fair, I did watch both series with Tommy, so
yeah, I did. I enjoyed it. It was good.
Quite keen to know some things as well, so it'd be nice. And I'll tell you what, he's a lovely guy as well. I think I've known all my mates for years, and not one of them have been invited for a roast dinner on a Sunday. But Tommy, Shell wants to invite Tommy around for a roast dinner on a Sunday. So he's a nice guy. He's a guy you'd want your daughter going out with. So yeah, we're looking forward to getting him on. So yeah, can't wait.
Brilliant. And also big love just also to our mate Louis, Vanilla Gorilla. He went and fought at the O2. It was a first round scrap. Sadly, he lost, but Corley traded some punches. I saw the fight and I was like, fuck yeah. I saw it on a playback because I was at a dinner. But like, fair play to him. That is a fucking crazy sport. And, he threw his shots and, deserves big praise for that because it was a tough old fight.
Yeah, I'd give him a text. I mean, I thought I'd let a day or two go because I can imagine he was probably disappointed with the thing. But he's so humble in terms of where he is and the sort of opportunities he's had. And I've got it on authority that ain't the last you're going to see of him in UFC. So, I mean, the best fighters that we've seen in that sport have got losses on their record. And normally they are when they first come in there and they're sort of finding their feet. He probably has to go back to the drawing board. And I mean, he's been in with two proper good fighters as well for someone who's literally just gone in there and fought with that level. So he's like everything, he's learning, and it'll probably make him a better fighter at the end of it. So yeah, you take your bumps along the road to glory. So, but yeah, like I said, lovely bloke, and it ain't the last we're going to see him in UFC. So you're looking forward to his next scrap.
Yeah,
I just want to Ali, so I'm gonna have another shout out as well. I was at a charity event for my cousin's boys. So as like regular listeners will know, my cousin lost two of his boys a year apart, totally different circumstances. And they hosted a big charity event a couple of weeks back. And I think you take a look on their page, 23-14 it's called. That's the ages of the boys, 23 and 14 when they passed away. But I just want to take a look at that and please follow it. It's a great cause. But I just want to say, I saw Chris Hughton. Chris Hughton was down there. like mingling and that. And he was talking about Spurs for a little bit. I had a couple of words with him about Spurs and that. And yeah, he seems optimistic. I did. This was before we appointed the Zerbi, and I did say to him, "Are you going to get back down there and sort it out?" He sounded a bit coy at the time. Now we know that obviously it weren't him, but he did sound. At one point, I was thinking, "Oh, that he might actually be going back there." But yeah, so just want a big shout out to that charity match. It raised a lot of money for both causes. 2314 is the charity, so do take a look, guys. Yeah, so it's one close to my family and my heart. So yeah, take a look.
Yeah, big love. Lads, all the very best. We will talk and reconvene it, as I say, after the Sunderland game. We're going in with optimism. We're thinking we're not going to lose. That's a good thing. Some of us even think we're going to win, and that's the way to be. See you after the Sunday game. Have the faith, and come on, you Spurs.
Zerbi. Oh, Zerbi. Oh.